Hey, good morning. Good morning, right? On your side.
Good morning for me, but good afternoon, Whee Teck.
Yeah, it's good to see you, Peggy. It's been a while.
It's good to see you too.
Yeah. So, thanks
It's
for doing.
been
Yeah, thanks
almost
for.
1 month. Yeah,
Yeah. How long have you been in? I don't know where exactly you are, but I presume it's UK somewhere.
I'm in London. In
Okay.
London, yeah, I've been here since January.
Oh wow, and it's going to be winter soon, so this is going to be a repeat of the. Well, January was cold. I presume.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a bit of a strange travel because when I came through and in transit in Doha, they announced a lockdown. So I arrived in UK
Just.
during their
I
first
see.
day of a re-lockdown.
Oh. Okay. All right. Anyway, let's get my YouTube channel
Mhm.
to be acquainted with you, Peggy. Just introduce yourself first.
So I'm Peggy Wong, originally from Kuching, Malaysian Borneo. Sarawak is the state. Uh, Whee Teck has come to Kuching before. We
Yeah.
invited him over to do a little workshop as
Yeah, I
well.
remember that. That's quite a long time ago.
Currently, I'm yeah, I was flipping through the photos. I'm like, oh my God, we all look kind of different back then, but not that long ago.
Yeah, yeah, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, so recently, I've come to London. I'm doing a postgrad study right now, master's in construction and project management. My background is architecture, but towards the last few years of my consultancy career, I kind of were more involved in contract administration. So I really find like the difference between the architecture that, where you put lines on paper
Yeah,
to the architecture where you actually see things being built.
yeah.
So I'm trying to explore that part of construction project management right
Wow,
now.
creation. I also, making things into real life, right,
Oh
so to
yeah,
speak.
of course.
Yeah,
Correct.
yeah,
So it's more the tangible form.
yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit about your role in urban sketching.
Uh, my role is ending though when okay, my role on the executive board is ending,
Right.
but as an urban sketcher is a work in progress.
Yes, like all of us.
I've always done yeah, I've always done urban sketching as more like a reportage style thing, like sketch journaling,
Yeah,
but I never called it urban sketching because it's what we did by training.
yeah.
So one day when I was doing this, when I was tutoring design in a local college, one of my students, Azi, came up to me and said, hey, do you know that there's a group of people who does this? They call themselves urban sketchers and they have this blog online. So
Right.
she started introducing me to urban sketcher.
Ah, nice.
And from there we started going to urban sketching events. And so the first one we went to was um sketching Georgetown, and that's where I met you the first
Yeah,
time.
2013.
You and Paul were teaching a workshop where I I just kind of crashed the party a bit, but because I think there was Isaac and another sketcher, I can't remember his name, from KL.
Right.
They need sign language translation, so I
Ah,
came in and helped a bit. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Oh, I
that
can't
was
remember that
one of my
anymore.
first
That
experience.
it's a blur.
Yeah, it was quite some time ago. It's
Yeah,
very vague, but then sometimes you know how Facebook does, they
yeah,
pop
yeah.
out all these
And they remind
memories,
you.
pictures. Yeah, and then I think the following year we went to Singapore
Yeah,
Urban Sketchers event. So in all these symposiums, I started meeting people,
yeah.
and very interestingly, Paul and Jesse approached me because that time Suma's role on the board as secretary was ending.
Right,
They were looking for someone to take over. So I agreed and I tailed Suma for a while, and then I boarded as a secretary.
right, right,
And
right.
then after that, I switched into a different role as events director. And most recently, you and I have been working on a Sketch Together program.
Yes. It was fun.
Yeah, that was one of the first. It was cool, right?
Yeah, yeah,
I
that's one.
loved it.
I think
Seeing all the urban sketches around the world.
yeah, yeah, it was good to see a lot of familiar names actually on the yeah. What motivates you?
Yes.
I start with motivation because usually motivation is what drives and it's kind of like the fuel, right? So what motivates you to do
Mm-hmm.
what you do? Specifically urban sketching or even your generally your creative life.
I think that one word kind of sums it all, curiosity.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's a
Curiosity.
big word.
So, yeah,
That's a big
I
word. Yeah,
mean, I know people say curiosity kills the cat, but curiosity is what makes you want to learn,
yeah,
wants to explore, wants to know more. Otherwise, you'll just be happy where you are, which is nothing wrong about that.
yeah,
But I've always been curious about things, so that makes me want to try new things,
yeah,
or explore and expand on the things I know, because I don't believe that's the only way, or that's not the only thing, or that's not the, it's always more.
yeah.
And I think part of life is keep learning.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with
Mm.
you. Without curiosity, life seems to be a bit dull, and it's like you're gonna do the same old, right? But curiosity is sort of, ooh, instead of walking in front of the shop, you go to the back. Maybe you see something different, or because you're curious, and then you see, oh, back lane is actually quite interesting, right? Or maybe
Ah,
you
yes.
take a different route, or you take a different road, or you take a different mode of transport, or you do something different, and you're curious all the time, right? So it sounds like you're that sort of person, actually,
Yeah,
knowing you.
yeah. Because now that you're mentioning back lane, recently I have an experience with a back lane.
Oh,
Like, also out of curiosity, I went out for brunch with my cousin and her friend, and in Chinatown in London, and my cousin's friend was saying, oh, so I'm going to this back lane to buy kway teow. I mean, buying kway teow in London, right? So
right.
I'm like, okay, can I come along and have a look? So I
Curious.
followed her to literally a back lane where people dump rubbish, and the rubbish
Right.
bin, the giant rubbish bins were there and
Right.
smells. Then we just walk through it, and it's a tiny alleyway, just a door, and then she just picked her head in and she bought kway teow from these guys. Apparently they don't have a shop front because they sell to all the restaurants that is
Right.
in Chinatown.
Right. Wow.
They don't need a shop front. So like one pack is only £1. So it's really cool to find out about these like great deals and interesting places just
Yeah.
because you're curious.
If you're not curious, you would have missed that. You would have not have experienced walking back lane and buy
Totally.
from a little hole in the wall a bag of kway teow, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can imagine. All right, so maybe we go to something easier. I mean, motivation, curiosity is really
Mhm.
a good word to summarize it. Can we look at some of your materials? What material do you paint with or sketch with these days?
Let's start with urban sketches.
Yeah, that's
Urban
it.
sketching. So since I've moved, I didn't bring a lot of my completed sketchbooks with me.
Sure.
I brought all empty ones
Yeah,
because it's always good to start new when in a new place as well.
yeah,
So this was a sketchbook that I started in Amsterdam,
right.
but I never got to finish. I was trying to do contour lines. Um, then this was the sketch that I did when I was at King's Cross, St. Pancras.
Oh wow, that's very nice.
So
Yeah,
mostly I use watercolor, very simple lines.
yeah.
And because it's a very complex
So it's
building,
pen
doing
and wash,
architecture,
right? This is pen and wash.
yes, paint and wash.
Yeah,
So being an architect, I tend to capture all the details, but throughout my urban sketcher journey, I realized that it's also good to just capture the impression of,
yeah,
and when people look at it and they realize or they recognize the building, that's when it works.
Right.
You don't have to capture every little molding above the window.
yeah,
So that when you look close up, it's not a lot of details.
yeah. No,
And
I think
the
that's
other day I
sketch. That's
joined
sketch,
online
yeah.
sketch.
That's a sketch, right? That's why it's called a sketch in a way. It's an
Uh, um,
impression, and
Yeah, that's a sketch, not a, yeah.
yeah,
Exactly. So you will remember this building in Kuching. So that day I joined an online sketch and we did
oh yes,
it's
I
a
remember that.
group
Yeah,
doc, yeah.
yes.
Yeah, it's an
We've been there.
online thing.
We were there
So
in the
in
Kuching,
gen
yeah,
in
Asia
general,
Link. The Kuching Asia Linked.
sorry?
That's where we went. I was sketching
Yes,
there, looking at
yes,
some of the bumboats and so on.
at
Yeah,
the waterfront.
yeah, that's right.
Correct. So nowadays I also carry a small one around,
Mm.
but mostly line work. So I have this pen where I found out about this when we were in Japan during an Urban Sketcher in-person strategic meeting. So this pen, one side is black, the other side is gray.
Oh wow.
So I've been working around with this. So
Wow.
it helps with the tonal
Right.
lines. I get the gray and
Nice.
the black. So I do really quick sketches now when I'm walking around.
Wow.
And that's the boat near River Thames. And then the other day I visited the Alice exhibition in V&A.
Yep.
And sometimes I do really quick ones, like just pretty much like that.
Yep.
Or sometimes I just don't sketch with the pencil. I do scratching.
Right.
They have a 3D thing that was on the plaque. And yeah, that's
Nice.
about it.
Nice.
Some things, yeah. Mostly just line work nowadays.
Well, thanks for
and-
sharing that.
And
Yeah.
I carry around a very simple kit, just like that.
Oh, so few things. Nice.
Yeah, because it's just pen, pencil,
Colors.
and a little watercolor set that I've created.
Yeah. Yep.
The magnet clip.
Yep.
And this.
That's it.
This
9
one.
colors
Yeah, it's a 9 colors. Yeah,
and the wash. Yep.
that's it. And then I clip it to my sketchbook.
Nice.
So
Very
clip
easy.
it to this. And if I do need to wash, yeah. Because I think if I'm doing wash, I just need to capture the basic colors. I'm not doing painting or
Yeah, yeah.
notation. So
Yeah, that's right. It's a sketch. It's not a paint. It's
quite
painting. Yeah.
straightforward.
Exactly.
No, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So this is
yeah.
urban sketching.
Very nice.
yeah.
What about other things that you do?
I like a very tactile experience. So that's why I draw pen to paper.
Right.
And so I've been dabbling in a lot of other little arts and craft things. Most recently, before I left teaching, I was doing pottery.
Yeah.
And kind of inspired by Madame Tia because she does
Yeah.
pottery as
She's
well.
an inspiration for a lot of
So,
people,
I
including
bought-
myself, of course.
Yeah, I brought small pieces.
Yeah.
Like this one is a bowl
Yeah.
that I made. And an espresso cup.
Yeah.
So I also stamped my kind of logo. All the potters, they do that.
Right. Right.
And
Right.
a bowl.
Wow.
And so I hope to do that again here.
You have a lot of
And
barang-barang. You
couple
have to figure out how to bring them back to Kuching when you're done.
No, if I go back.
Ah,
So
okay.
and also when I was here, I learned I taught myself acrylic.
Oh wow. Okay.
So use the fundamentals of color mixing and all this. What I found out about what I was doing with acrylic was mainly my understanding of oil painting, which I did like a 1-2 class session.
Yeah.
And well, watercolor is kind of different with this.
Yeah.
So I've done a series of pomegranate painting.
Lovely. Very nice. Yeah. Love it.
Yeah. And
Oh, love it,
this
yeah.
one.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
Pomegranates. Yeah.
posted them on Instagram as well. And well, since
Yeah. Nice.
Christmas is coming, so I've worked on a wreath,
Yes.
Christmas wreath, just recycling. And it's very simple. It's just tying tissue papers,
Yeah.
colored tissue papers around
Yeah.
the ring. That's it. Yeah.
You've always also gone into a lot of craft actually, even before you know,
Yeah.
I know you've always done craft stuff, right? So you, actually whatever
Like
you can get
edible
your hands on.
craft as well.
Yeah. I think I should be asking you what actually do you not do?
I don't know yet. See,
Okay,
so
yeah, yeah.
that's
So
the
that's like
curiosity
curious.
part. When I find out about stay curious. What I haven't found out that I haven't tried, then
Yeah.
I will try.
Very good.
Yeah, but my dad always say, "Jack of all trades, master of none."
Hey, but you know, if you're curious, you just want to know everything. Sometimes you find connection. You can create new stuff. Other people may not, right? So, yeah, you
Yeah.
never know.
So sometimes I did. I mean, like I dabble in wagashi as well. Wagashi, the Japanese tea ceremony cakes,
Right.
bean paste cakes.
Right.
Yeah. So
Wow. Okay. All right. We won't go. We're not finished. We'll go on and on. Okay. Next
on
question.
and on.
Yeah. Next question. So we covered your material. We covered your motivation. I want to talk a little bit about like who do you hang out with these days on Like, do you have different tribes or different groups of people that you do different things with, or like your membership, so to speak? Urban Sketcher for sure, we know that, right? A little
Yes.
bit more if you want to tell
Yeah.
that, but yeah, but other groups, or even now, who do you sketch with in London? Is there a group there?
Um, yes, there is a Urban Sketcher London group. I've joined them once actually, because that time when things were starting to ease up, Urban Sketchers Manchester with Simone and Karen, they
Yep.
all came down to um, London,
Yep.
and we all sketched together for a bit.
Right.
Uh, in general, I just sketch on my own because of my schedule.
Right.
Sometimes Chloe and Debbie, they are from Urban Sketchers Hong Kong.
Right.
We've moved here. Sometimes we meet up and sketch together, or we go material hunting together, like to art shops and
Right.
stuff.
Right. That's nice.
Yeah. I've yet to find time to do pottery here and all the other things that I like.
Yeah.
Most of the time, I because right now I'm here to do my postgrad, so
Right.
a majority of my time is spent
Studying.
writing.
Supposed writing, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but prior to this in coaching, I do have different tracks for different things.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, because I know you also have your other hobbies like running and stuff like that. I think. I don't know. Was it running?
I used to, but running is possible to do solo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can understand. Okay, all right. So we talked about the membership. What about these other two questions, which I'm always very curious? This is about your mental development, right? So describe to us, is there anything you're working on right now, and like, are you able to describe your own journey of your development, specifically related to sketching or urban sketching? Like, are you working on something? Are you working on like simplifying your line? Or I'm just giving an example.
Okay, in the sense of personal or
Personal.
organization?
For you.
Like for myself.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm loosening up my line, like earlier Demeter illustrated when
Yeah.
I was saying that being an architect, you tend to want to draw a lot of details.
Yeah.
So one of the things I've learned about this is through KK, Chen Kiakian.
Yes.
He's also a Malaysian sketcher from Penang. So attending KK's class, one of the things he said was, if you start drawing tweaks, your line tends to be coarse and big, and that forbids you in a certain way to draw details.
Yeah.
Because I used to draw with 0.1 felt pen, and you tend to wonder, now I can draw a lot of little things in there.
Yeah.
So with the coarse and broad strokes and lines, you can't. So I started with drawing with markers.
Yeah.
And actually this pen is also a bit like a marker.
Right.
So because of that, I tend to not be able to draw details. And the other thing I tried doing is doing contour lines.
Yep.
So in a way, I put restrictions on myself to start developing a certain looser lines.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of oxymoron, like you put restriction and yet you're loosening up.
Yeah. I understand.
Yeah, so I think, you have to impose certain things, certain rules to not draw a certain way before you can realize that you can draw in another way.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. And it helps because otherwise I won't be able to do quick sketches in 5 minutes when I'm walking to the station or walking up and down the river for an evening walk. I will spend like 1, 2, 3 hours sitting there sketching.
Yeah, I understand.
And that's not a sketch when you spend 3 hours.
That's a painting, right? So yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So no, I get it. I think that's exactly a very good point around the mental development. So I always think that everybody should have some kind of a focus, or you can come in and out. But it's always good to just think about like, okay, I'm working on something right now so that, I'm improving it. I'm trying to be more abstract. I'm trying to be more loose. I'm trying to be more tight even for some people, right? Depending on your characteristics.
Yeah.
But I like the point that you make, which is constraint helps, right? Because constraint helps you focus on the parameters you're working on. But after that, you actually realize that it helps you beyond just the things that you're constraining yourself, right? In many ways, it opens up your eyes and views around, about things.
it's like when you play a game, there are always rules, even though there is fun.
Yeah.
So one of the persons that influenced this is also Jim Richards. When I attended his workshop in the symposium in Singapore, he made us do this exercise where we sketch something in 1 minute.
Yeah.
And then you start to realize that you can't capture that much in 1 minute. And then to put things into perspective, he said, now you have 3 minutes to sketch. And you suddenly realize that 3 minutes is not 3 times more, but it felt a lot longer.
Yep. Yeah, it's a good exercise. Psychologically,
Then
it's very helpful.
it's contrast. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I took that class as well, so I appreciate it. Yeah, no, excellent. Thanks for
I
sharing
remember
that.
we were in the same class, I think.
Yeah. So one more question around your sort of your practice. I know you're studying, so you're writing a paper and all that. So I guess from a calendar. So what's happening? Like how do you sneak in time for your art practice, if you like?
Most of the time with sketching, I actually do a lot more sketching when I travel.
Right.
And we all know that's not
Yeah.
quite the case last
Right,
year
no,
and
yeah,
this year.
that's right.
So traveling or commuting is pretty much the same thing.
Right.
And we used to always sketch. I think we still do.
Yeah.
When we sketch to kill time.
Yeah.
So
Do you
I
sketch
now
on the
get-
way walking to work, to school, or those kind of thing, right?
Waiting for bus, waiting for train,
Yeah.
waiting in the clinic, waiting in a queue line, or waiting at the vaccine center,
Right.
those kind of thing nowadays.
Yeah. Fair enough.
So
Fair enough.
it's a good way to kill time
Fair enough. I
than just
think,
scrolling your phone.
Yeah. Fair enough. And it's a productive way. You're always creating, right? Not passively consuming. It's very different.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So we covered material, membership, mind, motivation, and your your calendar, which is muscles, right? Two other questions which I like to kind of pick your brain, right? One is, if you have a chance of
Okay.
writing yourself a postcards to your younger self when you started sketching, urban sketching, right? You cannot write a book, you can only send a postcard with 3 points. What would be the 3 points that you would send to yourself?
I think I will start with a quote.
Mm.
Fear, what is it? Everything you ever wanted is on the other side of fear, by George Adair.
Oh wow, okay, that's a good
So
one.
a lot of people dare not do certain things, or they do not dare to step out of their comfort zone, and that's crippling.
Yeah.
To a certain extent, you
Okay,
limit
good.
your capacity to grow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's it. 1
And
point to yourself. That's a big one, actually.
it is. I think it probably sums up everything if you think about
Yeah.
it. All aspects of learning,
Yeah.
life, love, relationship with people at work,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. I think it's applicable to a lot of aspects in life.
For sure.
Because what George Adair works on is also self-awareness and consciousness and growing from within. So
Yeah.
that is one of the quotes that I carry with me. But one of the other things that I always carry with myself is something someone said to me a long time ago, and I don't know who said this quote, but the more I live life, the more I realize how little I know.
Mm.
And
That's
that's
so
why
true.
when you ask me about what I would tell myself back then, it's one of those things that even if I tell myself back then, me back then would not understand it.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, you do need to live the life to understand why I said that certain thing to me back then. But that back then me will not understand as
Yeah,
well.
I fully understand. I appreciate that. Yeah, actually, there's another kind of similar quote, which I like, and that is, you can only understand your life backward, but you have to live it forward. Right?
That's profound.
It's very profound. Yeah, you can only understand it backward, but you have to live it forward. So
Correct.
yeah, but it's almost similar in that sense. Yeah. It's
Correct,
it's
yes.
actually uttered by a very famous philosopher. I can't remember her name now, but start with D. Anyway, I'll find it in the quote and stick it here. Yeah. So okay.
Descartes?
It's not Descartes. Maybe it is. Anyway, I'll go look
Okay.
it up. Yeah. One more question. Any advice or thoughts for my YouTube community, basically?
Stay curious.
Okay, you start with that, you end with that. That's like that's the best quote, right? Yeah, stay curious. I think if people stay curious, they will continue to grow, right? Yeah, that's always the
Life
case.
is a journey. I mean, your book is also it's about the mechanics about learning as well.
Yeah, you shouldn't stop learning. You stop learning when you die. So if you stop learning, then that's the end, right? So you should never ever stop learning. You should always continue, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So good ending. Very much. Thank you very much for your time, Peggy. It was so good to catch up with you. I enjoyed this tremendously. I know my YouTube channel will enjoy that too. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Whee Teck. It's a great opportunity.
So we're gonna do a very quick sketchbook tour. Peggy's sketchbook. She didn't really bring a lot of sketchbook with her to London, but this is one that she's carrying with her. You can see her beautiful lines and drawing and doodles. It's an example of how one could keep your own sketchbook, really a documentation of your daily lives, the lines that interest you, the things that you want to record, but also to try out some design concept on your sketchbook. And you can see that she sketches pretty much everything: figures, things, statues, museums she goes to. I guess anything that's of interest to her. And you can see that it's an observation, and I think sketches are primarily observation, aware, and you're always looking, you're always staring, you're always deeply searching for interesting lines to put on your sketchbook, as well as design. So I hope you enjoy that. Goodbye for now.